You see it everywhere, right? It's one of the most recognizable symbols in the world. But the American flag isn't just some random design. Nope. It's actually a living document. And there's a surprisingly logical story behind how it got all its stars and stripes. So let's get into it. So it really all comes down to this one big question. How in the world do we get from the original 13 stars to the 50 that we see today? Well, the answer is this really fascinating mix of history, growth, and one very clever piece of design thinking. Okay, so let's rewind the clock. Way back to 1777, the United States was a brand new country, just declared independence from Britain. It was made up of just 13 former colonies and, well, it needed a symbol. All right, before we go any further, there's one key term you gotta know for this story. It's the canton. That's the official name for this blue area right up here. You know, where all the stars are placed. The first flag's design, super simple, really direct. It had 13 red and white stripes, one for each of the new states. And then up in the canton, one white star for each of those original colonies. It makes sense, right? 13 states, 13 stripes, 13 stars. Easy enough. And, that system worked perfectly for a little while. But then the countries started to grow. When Vermont and Kentucky joined the Union, Congress just followed the same logic. Let's add 2 more stars and, yep, 2 more stripes. That brought the total to 15 of each. But here's where they hit a snag, a really big one, actually. With 5 more states getting ready to join, people started doing the math, and they realized the flag was heading for a major design crisis. See, the old way, adding a stripe for every single state, it was simple, sure, but it just wasn't scalable. As our source material points out, the stripes were on track to become, and I quote, ridiculously skinny. A 20-stripe flag would look kind of weird, but can you imagine a 40-stripe flag? It'd be a total mess. So what do? I mean, you can't have a flag with a million tiny stripes. This is where the story gets really smart. In 1818, Congress stepped in, passed a new flag act, and created this elegant, permanent solution to the whole skinny stripe problem. And the new system they came up with? It was brilliant, just so simple. Rule number 1, lock the number of stripes at 13, forever, to honor those original colonies. Rule 2, keep adding 1 new star for each new state. But, and this is the crucial part, the timing. The new flag would only become official on the following 4th of July. And let's see this rule in action. Remember those 5 new states that caused all the trouble? Tennessee, Ohio, Louisiana, Indiana, and Mississippi? Well, they were now represented by 5 new stars, which brought the total in the canton up to 20. The stripes went back down to 13 for good, and honestly, the flag just looked so much better. And that whole July 4th thing? It created some pretty interesting situations. For instance, Illinois joined late in 1818, so the flag officially became a 21-star flag on July 4th, 1819. But before the next July 4th rolled around, both Alabama and Maine had joined too. So on July 4th, 1820, the flag just jumped directly from 21 stars to 23. Okay, so with this clever new system locked in, the flag was finally ready for what was coming next, a whole century of rapid, nonstop expansion. And wow, did that star count start to climb. The new stars just kept on coming. We got 24 for Missouri, 25 for Arkansas, 26 for Michigan, 27 for Florida, 28 for Texas. I mean, you get the picture. The system was working perfectly. The YouTube channel Vexillographer, which is one of our sources for this explainer, puts a pretty fine point on this whole period of expansion with the very dry comment, just keep stealing that land. So the star count just keeps on going up, eventually hitting 34 when Kansas was admitted in January of 1861. And that timing is really significant because the nation was right on the very brink of the Civil War. Now this is a really fascinating detail. During the entire Civil War, the United States never removed the stars for the states that seceded. The official thinking was that the Union was permanent, it couldn't be broken. In fact, they even added a star in 1863, when the western counties of Virginia broke away to form the new loyal state of West Virginia. That brought the total up to 35. So after the war, expansion out west just continued, and this all led to what you could call the Great Star Jump, the single biggest leap in the flag's entire history. Between November of 1889 and July of 1890, a whopping 5 new states joined. North and South Dakota, Montana, Washington, and then Idaho.
Because of that July 4th rule, it meant on Independence Day 1890, the flag leaped straight from 38 stars all the way to 43.
Finally, in 1912, the expansion of the contiguous United States was pretty much done. New Mexico and Arizona joined the club, and now the flag had 48 stars. This version would become absolutely iconic, lasting for 47 years, right through 2 world wars. Oh, and here's another great piece of trivia for you. Before this 48-star flag, believe it or not, there was no official arrangement for the stars. Nope. People could, and they did, arrange them in all sorts of crazy patterns. Circles, diamonds, even a giant star made out of smaller stars. It was only in 1912 that this nice, neat 6x8 grid was made official. So after 47 years of the same design, the flag was about to go through its final changes of the 20th century. This is what brings us to the flag that we all know today. So in 1959, that long-serving 48-star flag finally got retired. First, Alaska joined as the 49th state, which created a 49-star flag that, well, it only lasted for 1 year, because later that same summer, Hawaii was admitted as the 50th and final state. And so on July 4th, 1960, the new 50-star flag became official. And it's been the flag of the United States ever since, which actually makes it the longest-serving version in the entire nation's history. And that kind of brings us full circle, right back to today, and to one final question. That elegant system that was designed way back in 1818, it's still in place. It's ready and waiting. So the story of the flag isn't necessarily over. The only question is, will there ever be a 51st star?